If you were targeted by a middle-aged, mustache-wearing creep with fake glasses and a stare that freaks you out even after death, what would you do? In this video, we will deconstruct Jessica's escape, figure out the mistakes she makes, and finally beat the serial killer in a lone 2020. Jessica is a young woman who recently lost her husband. To get over him, she decides to move away and leave her past behind. She packs her car, turns the engine on, and is on her way out of the city. It doesn't take long until she encounters a car that is seemingly operated by either teenagers that are too high to drive or my grandfather trying to focus on staying on his side of the street. Either way, holding your distance is advised. Impaired drivers are unpredictable and can cause your death in split seconds. Despite the unload attached to her car, she initiates a risky maneuver trying to bypass the car in front of her, but not today, because this jerk tests her patience by accelerating, prohibiting her from getting back to her side of the street. It is difficult to maintain your sanity while sharing the streets with idiots, but trying to overtake a slow car with an attached trailer in the back and driving on a curvy hillside road at the same time is also not the smartest idea. You know what is also terrifying? Male pattern hair loss when you're 25. But you know what? Keeps got's the solution. That's right, Keeps is a subscription-based service that makes it more affordable and really easy for young men to keep what we love, our hair. Because the truth is, 2 out of 3 men will suffer male pattern hair loss in one form or another before the age of 35. Now, everyone's body is different, and that's why I believe it is important to have medical expertise at hand. Keeps does just that. You will be linked up with a doctor that takes up your individual case while you can stay relaxed inside the wonderful, comfortable shell of your ergonomic gaming chair. How about that? It's pretty good. Your doctor is available 24/7 and the products are shipped to your doorstep every 3 months. It usually takes up to 4 to 6 months until you start seeing results, so it's perfect to get ready for the spring. If you're ready to take action and prevent your male pattern hair loss, go to keeps.com/Bingexpress or click the link in the description to receive a 50% discount off your first order. That's keeps.com/Bingexpress. Thank you very much, Keeps, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back. During this evening, Jessica refills her car at the gas station. While speaking to her father on the phone, she sees the same car rolling by. This is strange, because both took different streets diverging from each other before, and considering that mountain streets are both lengthy and lead away from each other due to the mountains in between, the fact that this car is here is unusual. You could brush it off as a mere coincidence, but not after that car slowly drives by while the driver stares at you with a full-blown predator vibe. Staring back like Jessica does is not something you want to do. Eye contact signifies challenging your opponent. It shows that you are aware of their presence and you risk revealing your fear or anxiety. What you should do is display confidence by keep doing what you do. Focus on your phone call, take up space by pacing around, gesture with your hands, and show that you are in full control of the situation, even if that means you're faking it. I get that you don't want to paint the devil on the wall, but having your dad on the phone might be encouraging to share what just happened. Not only do you unload the stress accumulated of the day, but you also let someone know that could take action if you disappeared. The next day, when she starts the engine of her car, she is shocked by a stranger knocking on her window. It is the same man from yesterday. Even if you dismiss the fact that all prior events were coincidental, this is alarming. There is no reason for this guy to approach you. Even if he apologizes for what has happened on the street the day before, it doesn't make sense. The fact that he is here a full 24 hours later in front of the motel where you have stayed for the night is scary. After this third encounter with the same stranger within 24 hours and dozens of miles traveled, I would carefully plan my next route and avoid driving during the nights. I would locate the nearest gas stations, motels, and police departments. Not only does that give you a sense of control, but it is also useful information for any type of emergency. Psychologically speaking, telling the person that makes you uncomfortable that he or she makes you uncomfortable is also a good way to keep them at bay. A normal person will always respect that and leave you alone. If he or she doesn't, then you know that something ain't right, in which case your suspicion is justified. Jessica continues her journey, and just hours later she comes across the same guy whose car is now broken down in the middle of the street. Let me point out that his car is literally in the middle of the road. That isn't something that happens. If your car breaks down, you have always time to steer it to the side. A car doesn't just full stop. It almost looks like he purposely blocks the street so that she can't pass. The only thing left for him to do at this stage is offering a bag of candy that lies in his car. What a creepy dude. Look at him. Following her gut feelings, she drives away. At this point though, I would seriously contact people and let them exactly know about each event ever since that first encounter on the road. I would let them know and take their advice. It's also a good idea to contact the nearest police department. Now, the good thing about calling the police in a non-emergency as a precautionary tactic is that you are calm and collected. At this stage, Jessica has encountered the same guy over the span of almost 3 days in weird situations. No cop would dismiss you as crazy. Her paranoia is kind of justified. Jessica's car breaks down. She almost crashes into the bushes and realizes that this was not a coincidence. Upon inspecting the problem, she comes across a slid tire. I'm not Sherlock Holmes, but this seems pretty suspicious, doesn't it? Before she can react though, a car appears from behind. It is the same creep that has been chasing her for 3 days straight. She tries to escape with her car, but it is too late. He approaches the car, shatters the window, and takes her captive. Okay, let's have a look at this. If she had a gun or a pepper spray, she would have been able to defend herself. The fact that he rushes in, completely ignoring the possibility that she may has a gun, either means that he is an amateur, or the fear in her eyes during the last few encounters gave away the fact that she has no means to protect herself. The next morning, Jessica wakes up. She finds herself locked inside the basement of a cabin in the woods. And like just about every other victim in these movies, she runs to the door, tries to open it, and starts screaming for help. Yeah, I don't think nobody's there. I mean, this guy chased you for 3 days, sliced open your tire, and then preyed on you at night with a syringe full of narcotics. Something tells me he will not let you go. But that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. I know it's not easy to think clearly in these moments, but I don't think your perpetrator will have a change of heart by screaming in his face. If anything, you just gave away the fact that you are awake, initiating whatever it is this man has planned for you. This was the biggest advantage you had, and now not anymore. Now when she sees him through the small window to the side, she thinks it would be even a better idea to storm over and ask him directly to let her go. Yeah, sure, as if he would do that after chasing you for 3 days, slice your tire, and then prey on you at night with a syringe full of narcotics. I know it's not easy to think clearly in these moments, but I don't think your perpetrator will have a change of heart by screaming in his face. If anything, you just gave away the fact that you are awake, initiating whatever it is this man has planned for you, and I don't think it's anything good. The biggest advantage was to be awake without him knowing it. This would have given you enough time to explore the trap and come up with a logical plan to carry out. The fact that her hands and feet aren't tied down is also ridiculous. Compared to the Saw franchise, this girl was legit captured by a murderer who majored in hospitality. I mean, the chance to escape is infinitely more feasible with arms and legs to use. At this stage, there are only 2 ways on how this can go. Either you find a way to escape unnoticed, or you find a way to overpower him. You should take some time to snoop around. Check out the natural stone wall in the back. Maybe there is a loose stone that you could use. Check out the bars in front of the window. Even though they are firmly soldered on, the frame around is rusty. There is no doubt that with the right hammer, you could break them off. The door is made from wood and appears to give a lot of room when she rattles on it, implying that with enough force, one can break through. Now I'm sure that if you wore a Gucci belt with one of those metal prongs on it, you could smack that door open like a knight wielding his morning star. Now during the evening, the creep creeps in and tells her to undress. It's not like we've expected anything else. I mean, the only thing this guy is missing is a beige trench coat to become the blueprint for sexual predator looks for this season. The confrontation culminates in him spooning her while forcing her to watch old videos of her dead husband. Now, I don't know what the deal is with this guy, but he is sicker than I thought. I would initiate a kiss. I would gently touch his cheeks on both sides, resembling a Disney princess, and look into his eyes full of love and unconditional support. And then, just before touchdown, I would slide up my hands and press heavily into his eyes with my thumbs. And then mix a Bloody Mary with his blood. The next day, when Jessica wakes up, she does what she should have done the day before: check out the place. She realizes that the key is stuck inside the keyhole on the other side. Now, with a nail that she finds piercing out of the wooden pillar, she attempts to push out the key. To ensure that she can then pick it up, she prepares a piece of clothing underneath to pull back. Now, this was honestly a very smart idea. Personally, I prefer scratch eyes out tactic, but you know, Sly Cooper does it too. What now though? I mean, do you arm yourself with things you find down here and wait to confront the guy, or do you try to get out barehandedly as quickly as possible and risk to lose a possible showdown? Now, this is honestly a tricky decision. Knowing myself, I would probably arm myself first and then go for the escape plus the confrontation if necessary. I mean, if I faced this dude off without a weapon while trying to leave barefoot, I would be back in this basement quicker than I could scream Harvey Weinstein. How would you go about your escape? Take the time to arm yourself first, or take the risk by trying to leave ASAP? Let me know. Jessica goes for the escape. When she reaches the upper level, she can just barely avoid being caught. This was close. As she's trying to control her emotions and trying not to move, because this house is purely made from wood, he receives a phone call from his wife and daughter. Yep, that's kind of creepy. Now she waits until he leaves and then rushes out and sprints. You better go, girl, and don't look back. The fact that she's barefoot is a terrible onset for a sprint through a pine forest, that much I can tell. The only thing that tops that is sprinting through a stranded shell field. The only good thing right now are two things. First, she made it out alive and has a significant head start. But she makes a few insane mistakes. For one, she screams for help. Now, I don't know why you would do that. I mean, if you're escaping a murderer inside a forest, perhaps you should avoid making any noise. The chance that you reveal your position rather than finding rescue is higher. The best thing is to keep on sprinting and never stop. Don't look back and focus on getting away as far as possible. Hiding in the area is terrible because this is the literal backyard of a serial killer, right? It doesn't matter how good of a hideout you may find, unless you break your leg, you want to keep moving away. Now Jessica arrives at the rushing river. At the same time, he is caught up too. The way she ponders about jumping in or surrendering boggles my mind. I mean, this river may kill you, but this dude will do so 100% in the most gruesome way possible. Dude, I would embrace this river like a virgin Gollum embraces the one, okay? There are a few rules if you want to survive a strong current though. First, your feet should point downstream and your head upstream. That way your head is protected and your legs will take all damage caused by floating debris and rocks. You should also turn on your back. This allows you to breathe, because you should keep breathing, and maintain a more stable position. As soon as you get to more calm waters, turn on your belly and swim to the shore while using the stream to carry you. That way you save some energy, which you really need in this position. In the likely case that you're also chased by a serial killer, you may want to swim ashore on the opposite side. Not like Jessica, who for some reason that I can't comprehend swims ashore on the same side. I don't understand how having a large body of water in between you and your kidnapper is something you can miss. Now frankly, I do not even understand why you want to get out of the water in the first place. It would be much safer to stay in here and go with the stream. The fact that she moderately injured her foot on the escape before also supports this idea. Human civilization is also mostly found near or around water sources, and since Jessica is completely lost in this forest without a compass or map, floating down a river is the best card she has. However, she decides it's best to go by foot, and we should respect her decision here, okay? Considering the injury on her foot, this is a bad idea though. Not only is she slow, but she also risks heavy inflammation in no time. She could at least rip apart some of her clothing and wrap it around her feet. This should have been done early on, but given the chase, I get that that wasn't possible. Let me introduce you to Robert. Little did he know that today he would help a young woman escape her kidnapper. He is visibly uncomfortable, but who wouldn't be? I mean, look at how she looks, a meth head trying to look for her next victim for some change. And that she hysterically screams at him, babbling something of a serial killer, does kind of sound like she's tripping. She's literally taking a chance here. They get to his car and try to leave. but a tree obstructing the street hinders them from moving forward. Now I get that Jessica is super agitated and out of her mind after these past events, who wouldn't be, but she is scaring the living shit out of Robert. And then, when the actual killer joins, we got the perfect setup for this. So this dude is a creep, but he is a genius. The way he gets out of his car pretending to be on the phone with a relative is incredible. He literally fakes a whole conversation about how he just found Jess and that she seems to be okay. What he's doing here is constructing a fake story to make her appear like she's out of her mind and he the person that usually takes care of her. Now Robert, this poor guy, is completely confused. I would be too. But the killer just goes on with his story. He is so good at it, it becomes very clear that he is an absolute psychopath. The way he bends this event into the perfect setup to kill Robert is phenomenal. But, enough of fanboying for the wrong side. Let's get the hell out of here. Now Jessica runs away while Robert's brain is being, squished. The rainfall and boots she has received from Roberts before helps her second escape. It might not be too obvious, but rainfall in a forest is very loud. It's perfect to escape without making notable noise. Jess flees and takes cover behind a large rock. She waits for the perfect moment and goes for another sprint, but this time she gets shot and hit in the shoulder. She just barely escapes and is able to hide inside the bushes. Now the psychopath, knowing his Psychopath 101, tries to lure her out by talking a lot of BS about her late husband. Now she does everything right here. She doesn't move and stays put as she is until he leaves. But here comes something that I think we cannot agree with. When she wakes up the next morning, she continues her escape, which is good of course. But at this point, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, she comes across his car while he is burying Robert nearby. In my opinion, assuming that this will take him around 20 minutes, I would use that to run as fast as possible alongside the street until I reach a main road. I would run on the street for maybe 10 minutes for some extra speed and then continue off street to stay hidden in case he drives by. Since every forest road inevitably ends up on asphalt with traffic on, this seems to be the best solution right now. However, Jessica goes for another option. She decides to try and hijack his car. Not only that, but she also enters the car without checking first if the key is in. What if he has them, right? It's not like this is an unbelievable scenario, and if that is the case, then you will probably die. Even in the unlikely case that this psychopathic serial killer has left his key inside the car, this dude has a rifle with a scope on it. He will just shoot the tires before you can even escape. And forest roads aren't the best places to speed away anyway. One mistake and you are literally dead. Now instead of keys, she finds a phone. That's pretty okay too, but let's see what happens next. Look, if you had enough time to climb back into the trunk without being seen, you sure as hell would have had the time to open that door and hide somewhere in the bushes. Not only would he then drive away from you, you could then also sprint in the opposite direction while calling the police. And with the GPS function, you would be able to tell them exactly where you are. But she ends up in the trunk. And this is probably the worst possible outcome of her strategy. Not only does he feel that something's in the back, but he also figures out that his phone is gone. He immediately realizes that she is in the trunk, call it the psychopathic intuition, which actually is a real thing, but before he can do anything, she leaps up and strikes at his head. She hits him multiple times until the car crashes and flips upside down. This, on the other hand, is the best possible outcome of being found in the trunk. Good job on her behalf. They both end up for a final showdown on a clearing nearby. Now, what she does is genius, I love it. She calls his wife from his phone and tells her everything that has happened. Not just that, but she even says that if she never hears from her anymore, it means that her husband has killed her. And this was the smartest move at this stage, perfectly played. Even if she is about to die here, he would have ultimately lost the fight. He would never be able to return home. Although she is tired, hungry, and completely at a disadvantage here against this big creep, her secret weapon is her pure survival instinct. After a long back and forth, she can stab this dude and win the fight. She thus survives this insane story and is shortly after rescued by a team that was looking for her. What do you think about this movie? I think this was pretty good. Everything fit here, no jump scares, and yet you felt her anxiety through the screen at every stage. Very well made, I really enjoyed this. On the other hand, I hope you've enjoyed this video today. If so, perhaps you want to leave a like. Helps us out, every little thing adds up. With that said, I thank you very much for watching today, and I see you again very soon. Take care. Peace.